Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Judith Verhanen, Dean of Admissions at Stony Brook University, and I'm here with my colleague, Robert Pertasati, Associate Dean and Director of Recruitment for Stony Brook University. First and foremost, we just hope that you and your loved ones are safe and healthy, and we want to commend you, all of you, for really adjusting, adapting, and keeping it moving during this challenging and rapidly moving semester. And we want you to know that as a university, we commend all of our high school students and that we're here to support you. We have many opportunities for you to connect with us, whether that be online chats with our counselors, whether that be through our information sessions and programs that we are hosting now throughout the summer and into the fall. So we want you to know that we're here for you. We thought that today and as we approach the summer, it would be really an ideal time to talk about, as I know many of you may be rising seniors, or you may be entering your junior year or even your sophomore year, but we often as admissions officers get the question, what can I be doing to help me better prepare for college? What can I be doing to make me a better candidate or more a successful candidate? And I think what we want to share with you is it's not just about college, but it really is about building your skills, your talents, your strengths for whatever it is that you should choose to do in the future. So hopefully today we'll touch on not only how to prepare for college, but other things that you might be thinking about that are going to enhance your future success overall. You will have an opportunity throughout our session. You see ask a question there to ask questions, and we will make every attempt to answer those questions at the end of the session. But before we begin our session, we have a very brief poll that's going to help us just get a better sense of who's with us today and kick us off. So with that, if you'd like to participate, we'd like to know, what academic year are you in?
Wow, it looks like, Judy, there's probably the majority are high school juniors, somewhere in the high 80%, over 80%. Okay, that's pretty relevant given the fact that it's timely for the group as they start thinking about the college admissions process.
And sophomores in the house, we certainly welcome you. Now is a wonderful time to begin your thinking and planning. Okay, great. Next question. Where are you in the college search process? Is it your first time looking at or thinking about college? Have you looked at a few colleges already? Or have you really been doing an extensive search?
Well, we're sort of in the middle of the road here. Looks like the majority of folks are, I looked at a few colleges, followed by I looked at many colleges, and very small number of folks just sort of starting to look at colleges. I think Judy and I are delighted to hear that many of you are already invested in the process and have been looking already. So that's encouraging news for us.
And the good news is the summer months are ahead of you. And this is really a wonderful time to do more research and to start to collect your thoughts and prepare as you go into the next academic year. Okay, next question. Who are you most likely to be consulting as you prepare your college list? Your parent or guardian, your family members, your school counselor, your friends or your peers?
Ooh, okay, interesting. Well, that's encouraging. The peers is the lowest number. That's good. We like to hear that. It almost looks like parents or guardians seems to be at the highest, followed pretty closely by school counselors. And we can never underscore the role of the school counselor. And school counselors really have a wealth of information to share with you. We certainly value parent and guardian information and certainly understand the vested interest that parents have, but let's not neglect the conversations with the counselors because they are the direct links to the college admissions folks. So they're a resource to take advantage of. So please be sure to do that. So hopefully we'll see those numbers coming closer and closer to each other.
And my theory is talk to everybody. Talk to your parents and absolutely your family members who may or may not have attended college, but may be very helpful and supportive. Family members and extended community members. Your teachers, your favorite teachers, those that serve as advisors to organizations that you may be involved in, members of your church, your synagogue, your mosque. Many people can provide you with helpful information about how they got where they got. So be open to asking and speaking to anyone in your immediate circle or any new acquaintances that may be helpful to you.
And I think also, Judy, think about alumni who've gone through the process. You might have not just siblings who've gone through the process, but perhaps in your high schools, students who have recently gone through the process and now coming back to share their stories. We know that many high schools today run sort of alumni programs, bringing recent students back to the high school to talk with their current high school students about, I wish I had known this then, or here's some advice that worked for me. Here's what didn't work for me. So people who have gone through that process can give you some very valuable information.
Okay, and our last question, who will have the greatest influence on creating your college list?
Now, if the parents are watching this right now, I wonder if that'll be influenced by that. Oh, I was just kidding. But it seems like interesting. Well, that kind of makes sense. We've seen a lot of literature that talks about the role that counselors play in helping students sort of put the list together and start the exploration. But also we talk about the parental role, and many parents have gone through this process themselves and give valuable information. And clearly we've seen and we appreciate the role that parents play. And clearly that's the winner of this particular poll. 77% are looking at parents or guardians as the greatest influencer in creating the college list. Fascinating. Awesome.
Great. And with that, we'll begin our presentation. Great. Okay. I think it all starts with you. I think one of the things that would be important is to really take some time to take inventory, to take stock of your strengths, your talents, your interests, and your abilities. So summer right now is a good time to really ask yourself some key questions. What are my strengths, talents, interests, unique abilities? And when I say to take inventory, I'd like all of you to consider doing a brief exercise, and which means to commit pen to paper, to sit down and write down 2 to 3 areas that you consider to be academic strengths, 2 to 3 areas that you consider to be personal strengths and/or skills or talents. Are you a person who has a way with words? Are you a person who can put together anything, who can look at something and say, this piece fits with this piece and this is how it should go? Are you a person who's good at getting groups together and helping people to reach a common consensus or work toward common goals? What about those things that maybe you don't know you have a strength or ability or talent or an area that you haven't had a chance to experience, but you've always been interested in? What are those? The beauty of college and the beauty of moving on to the next step beyond high school is that you will have an opportunity to develop new strengths, new talents, new skills. You will have an opportunity to experience new things and learn about areas that you had never considered before, and these may become future interests and passions. So also make a list, not necessarily of those things that you know that you're good at, but also of those things that you would be interested in learning more about. When you move on beyond high school, it may be one of the first times that you are being evaluated by a group of people beyond your immediate family, beyond your immediate school community. And it's important to be able to present yourself or to be able to articulate, both in writing as well as verbally, some of your key strengths, some of your key interests, and some of your key abilities. It takes some practice. Sometimes you feel as if, oh, gee, I would be bragging if I said that, or wow, that would sound really kind of arrogant or cocky. But in the college application process, when you apply for jobs and when you apply for internships, you are being asked to present yourself to people who've never met you in life. They don't know how kind you are. They don't know how funny you are. They haven't seen you in action in your classroom. They haven't seen you in action in the orchestra or on the athletic field. So you're going to have to tell them about you. So summer is a good time to really begin to develop those talking points and really to reflect and think about those things that you wish to build on and the areas in which you wish to grow.
Okay. Actually, that's a good point. The whole piece of, I think we as a society are always taught to be humble and not to brag. And I always reminds me, Judy, this is the time to sort of brag. This is the time to truly think about what makes you unique and be prepared to effectively articulate that uniqueness to us in the college admissions process, because we're not just enrolling every student who might meet a certain academic criteria, but as we're shaping our classes, we're looking at those special attributes. We're sort of looking at shaping that class. And so we need your help, students, to sort of think about what makes you stand out. What are the things that you're passionate about, and the strengths that you have, and be proud. You know, I know there are many schools that actually in the process actually require students to fill out brag sheets. Sometimes it's the parents who do it for them, because it's hard sometimes for the students to do that, but it's very valuable information. And that information can be woven into many layers of the application, whether it's the essay, whether it's having an interview, being prepared to talk about it. So I'm glad you brought that up, Jude. That's really, really important. Let's also talk about, this is not a one-size-fits-all process, and we're all at different levels and different points in the process. And some of us are focusing on different parts more readily than others. But it really, in essence, it is an exploration, right? It's like a research project in a sense. You're trying to get all this information about yourself, and then you're trying to get information about other colleges that are out there, and you're trying to match this, you're trying to fit this. And so how do you do that? How do you make yourself stand out so that you kind of catch the attention of the college admissions folks? And not only that, but how to best prepare yourself as you transition from high school to college. Well, one of the logical things that I think about is, have you taken, or will you think about taking, a college course during the summer? And right now things are a little different, but they're still possible. So there are many online courses that students can take right now that are sponsored by a college. You can physically take a college course. I'm not saying that it's going to be advanced neurophysics perhaps, but again, going back to what Judy was saying, the things that your strengths, the things that you enjoy doing. If you like to write, or if you like to talk, or you like people, there are subjects at the introductory level that you can consider taking. Maybe an introduction to psychology, or a writing course, or maybe you want to learn more about history. There are some survey courses that would certainly be appropriate for high school students to take during the summer that are part of a college experience. It gives you valuable expectations for what college courses are like. It also, in many cases, could give you college credit, advanced standing. And then let's not forget, just the fact that you're in challenging college level courses speaks volumes to us about your challenge and how you welcome academic challenge. So there's some really important parts to consider when you're looking at taking some courses, and you can readily do that right now, even online during the summer. And think about, what are your favorite subjects? What are you good at? Same kind of thoughts in thinking about taking a course. Volunteer, volunteer, volunteer. We hear that all the time, and that's really, really important. We know in college admissions that volunteering is a big part because, again, as we're shaping our college classes, we're looking at students who are actively engaged in their community. And that means many different things. It could be actively in your working with your church or synagogue or mosque, but it could also mean just your local support groups. How do you, working with senior citizens, what are the things that you enjoy that you can give back to your community? Because if you're doing that while you're in high school and you have time over the summer to do some of that, you're more likely to be doing that while you're in college. Giving back is really, really important. We value that in the admissions process. Students who are contributing to their community in whatever way. We're not asking you to go across the country and build a house, but we're thinking what's important to you and give back, help others. And then you can, again, weave that into your college application. So it's valuable experience. It helps you grow as a person, but it also has some tangible value as far as talking about your story in the college admissions process. Research. When I think of research, we all think, oh, the scientist in the laboratory, and that's certainly one example of research, but it's not the only example. Research can be in the social sciences. When I was an undergraduate, I'm not going to tell you when, it was quite a while ago, increasingly sensitive subject for me. I was involved in research where, and you can do this while you're in high school, there were surveys. It was with psychology. We were understanding people's attitudes towards certain scenarios, and we gather the information and we worked with the lead researcher to tabulate the results. And it's very simple to do. Research is not just in the science and STEM, it's in the social sciences, it's in business, it's in journalism, it's in history. You can do history research, perhaps working with a faculty member on a project or some article that they're going to present, but they need someone to help them gather the information and maybe even help make sense of the information that they've gathered. So research is really asking the right questions and finding answers to those questions, not just because someone with a fancy title tells you it's so, but rather because you've actually answered and investigated on your own. And we'll talk a little bit later about how you can sort of make those connections to sort of get that research opportunity. We all talk about the importance of having a college degree, and the research talks about, students who have advanced degrees tend to earn more income in their lifetime. But it's not just about learning theory in the classroom, it's how do we take that theory and put it into practice. Experiential learning is really, really important. Applying that theory in a real sense. So really getting job experience or an internship gives you that real life practical experience. And in many cases, certainly a job, but in some cases, an internship can also provide college credit and or payment. So there are some benefits and some perks to that experience, but never underscore or undervalue the learning piece, because the knowledge that you acquire in these real life experiences is very, very valuable. I'm not downplaying what you learn in the classroom. That's very, very important. And theory and understanding that is very important, but you have to take the next step. How do you then apply that in a realistic sense? And that's very valuable. Even going back to what Judy was talking about earlier about employment and learning what your skills are. Here's a great way to discover. We have many students who think they want to go into medicine and they have the aptitude for the sciences and mathematics, and they've done some research, but then they get out into the field, they do that volunteer experience, perhaps they're working in the hospital, and the sight of blood is not really working for them, and that's okay. We need to also know by experience what we don't want to do, because we're not going to know what the real life expectations are until we get that hands-on experience. And that's part of the learning journey as well, knowing what we don't want to do as well as what we want to do, or what we thought we wanted might now change, and or I still want a career in the health professions, but maybe not clinical. Maybe I want to do some laboratory work behind the scenes. So that experience is going to help you understand what that career is truly about. And speaking of careers, that's our next one. I didn't do that on purpose, actually. What do you like to do? What are you good at? What are the pathways? People think I want to do something with computers, but I have to be a computer science major. No. Do you like programming? Do you like sitting behind a computer all day? Think about what you like to do before you think about, I'm going to major in that particular area because I'm going to do a career in that. You can apply technology in every aspect. We're doing it right now here at the university in the admissions office. And that's not our background, but you adapt to that. So those skills can be transferred. You can take the technology skills and the passion that you have and apply it into a career in business, or again, in the social sciences. Or we all know the role technology plays in medicine today. So think sort of out of the box. Just because I want to be a scientist, I have to be a bio major. If I want to go to med school, I have to be a biomedical engineering major. Sort of like think about what the careers are, what the interests are that you like to do on a day-to-day basis, and then we sort of tie together what academic programs are the right pathways. You'll be surprised. The pathways that you think are the pathways for the careers that you want may not necessarily be so. Not to mention, many of the careers that you'll all be involved with at the time you're ready probably don't even exist yet. And that's okay. So basic skills, very important. What are your aptitudes and your interests? We can build from there. So we're going to move beyond the exploration process, and not because I'm just a Virgo, which I am, by the way. Organizing is really important because all these theories are great. You kind of know what to do, but how do you sort of kind of make a plan to get this from the paper to the actual doing? And creating a contact list, what does that mean? Well, think about who you want to reach out to. So the faculty members perhaps that you want to reach out to as far as some research opportunities, potential employers that might be of interest, who can give you that experience, even the shadowing experience to help you decide, is this something you want to do? How about us, the college admissions folks? We're the folks who actually read your applications too. So it's important that you start networking there and explore on the websites who the dean of admission is at Stony Brook or whatever school you're looking at. The folks that you might meet at a college fair, whether it's going to be virtual or in person this year, get to know them, because those are the folks who are going to be having a voice in the decision process for you. So make a list of the people that you want to reach out to, and make sure you keep that list accurate once you have engaged in some type of outreach and conversation with that person, because follow-up is really, really important. And then saying, we had a conversation back in November, light bulb goes off. Now I know you were paying attention. That's really, really, really important. There are some things that you also have to think about in terms of pragmatic stuff. So we all want to do everything, right? And I know from reading your folks' college applications over the years, I'm not gonna say how many, there's a laundry list of everything that students have done since they've exited the womb. And you want to sort of balance, well, how can I do all these things? And developing a schedule is really important. When you're thinking about doing these kinds of activities over the summer, whether it's a job, an internship, research, whatever it is, realistically think about how many hours a week can you really devote to it? You have other obligations. Are you helping at home, taking care of your siblings, or helping with family business? What else is going on in your life? We know there's a lot going on in your lives now. And so it's about balancing. So try not to take on everything because you think that's what you're supposed to do. It's really the quality of the experiences, not the quantity. So how many hours a week can you devote to these kinds of experiences? A summer class, for example, can be very time consuming. It may not look that you're in class all that long. You're only studying maybe a few hours a day in class, but there's a lot of work outside of the class that you have to do. There's homework, there's reading, there's research. So think about that time commitment that's involved there, because you want to be realistic about exactly what you can do. You do not want to overextend yourself, because if you do, the outcome might not be very positive, and you want to be positive in this whole process. How about the level of independence? Do you work independently, or do you need a lot of supervision? And some of us are very proactive and self-starters, but some people need more structure and they need someone to give them guidance. So think about, is that who I am? Do I need that structure, or do I work better in a much more fluid type of environment and experience? So those are the things that we like you to think about. The pragmatic things, yes, updating your resume and your cover letter, these are important tools. And Judy was talking about, the way you introduce yourself to folks. Very often your cover letter is the way that you do that. You may not have an opportunity to talk with someone prior to an internship experience or a job interview. You're gonna put yourself out there, and this paper or virtual paper perhaps now, is sort of a summary of who you are, and does it accurately reflect your experiences? Now, I would say, quite honestly, until you have developed a very extensive, I guess, experiences in your life, having 3 pages for a resume is probably not where you want to start. You know, typically for starting out, a resume is a 1-page document, highlighting, bullets, brevity, very important, the strengths, the important things that you've done. And there are many different styles in a resume, whether it's by skill level or whether it's by the order of the experience, the dates and times. But in either case, make sure it reflects who you are, your selling point. It's your marketing tool in essence. And make sure you proofread, and particularly that cover letter. That cover letter is not just regurgitating what's on the resume, but something else that may be of interest to the potential employer or the internship coordinator or the research coordinator. And make sure you fine tune and you direct the content of that cover letter specifically to that experience. A generic cover letter is not effective. You really need to tailor it to the experience to which you are applying. It shows the extra mile. Oh, you've taken the time to give us information and to think really deeply about why you think that experience would be a good fit for you. And now the fun part. This could go on forever, I promise I won't. Creating the college list. What are the must-haves? What are the deal breakers if the schools don't have what you're looking for? Is distance from home important to you? How far are you willing, or your parents willing to let you go? I think often about our local area here. We send a lot of students off Long Island, which is where we are located. And you think about, we know that many students will choose schools in the north, in the Boston area. We know it happens. But if you're willing to go 250 miles or so northeast, would you be willing to go 250 miles southwest? Because there are some really great gems there as well. The point is, think beyond the box. Just because your peers are applying to these colleges doesn't mean that that's the college you should be applying to. Again, doing your research in advance, what are the attributes that are important to you? And sometimes when you stop looking at the schools that everyone else is looking at, you might have a better chance of getting admitted to those schools, because it's like a law of supply and demand. You're on a highway in the morning, and there are a few lanes that are open. Not everyone can get through at the same time. If you take a detour, take the side road instead, you might have an easier way getting through. So think about, beyond the popular names that many students often apply. Think about things like, do you want to be in an urban area, suburban area, or a rural area? Is it reflecting your home experience, or do you want something totally different? If you are thinking about a major, well, obvious to me, does the school or do the schools have the programs you might be thinking about? Or if you're not sure, if you're undecided, we know there are many undecided students out there. And by the way, that's okay. One of the first things we learn is that being human is we can change our mind, and that's okay. We're allowed to do that. But if there are interests that you have, if the schools don't have those programs, well, where are they on the list for you? Or if I'm really, really not sure, look at schools that have a wide variety of choices so that when you are ready to decide, you have a lot from which to choose. And then don't ever not have the conversation about cost. I'm not saying that your conversation about your college list should be driven solely by cost, but don't neglect it. It's often too disappointing when students don't have that conversation with their families, and now it's May of senior year, and that cost is not going to work with the family logistics. So don't neglect that conversation. And then there's also, you have to think about schools in one of 3 areas when you're applying, and I call them target, safety, and reach. Target, safety, reach. So a target school is where your academic profile is right in line with what that school publishes on the website. And we do that. We'll tell you where the middle 50% of the students who have enrolled at our college this past year, what they looked like academically in terms of grade point average, if there's testing involved. So you can see if you're in line. So a target school is your profile is pretty much right there with what that school publishes. A reach school is where your academic profile is lower than what that school typically publishes. And I'm not saying every student should have target schools, every student should have reach schools, because we want students to have aspirations and challenge. That's important. We want you to have your dreams, and it's not a very scientific approach in the admissions process. But target, reach, and safe. I never use the word safe as much anymore, but safe school to me in my mind would be your profile exceeds, it's higher than what that school publishes. So typically a safe school would be probably a school that you're most likely going to have very little problem getting an offer of admission. And you want to have a couple of schools in each of those three categories. The trick here is that sometimes that changes. What's a target school one year might be a reach school the next, based upon, again, the law of supply and demand and the popularity of a particular institution. Likewise, a safe school could become a target, etc. So yeah, you have to always understand this is not a finite sort of process, and things change. It's dynamic, it's very fluid. In either case, again, the Virgo, make that list of what's really important to you. What do you want to see in your college? Is athletics something that you need to think about? Are you a student athlete and you're going to be competing at the Division I level perhaps? Or maybe you want to be in an environment where there's a wonderful study abroad opportunity. Or maybe what's really, really important to you is not so much the career, but what is the foundation of the liberal arts education that I'm going to acquire? So those things are really important. Do you see yourself there? And whether you're visiting virtually or once we have the opportunity to do that in person again, sometimes you're not going to know that till you actually experience and talk with current students, because our brochures honestly all look very pretty. Everyone's smiling. There's no rainy day on the brochure. But reality, we all know, is a lot different than that. And so it's important that you really look at every venue to investigate the college process when you're making that list. Use the website, certainly. Talk to the admissions reps who are assigned to your geographic area, where you live. Talk to your school counselors, talk to your parents, talk to peers who've had that experience. Like Judy was saying, talk to people, talk to people. We like talking, clearly. But again, it's not a one size fits all. It's a process. Take it step by step. And your goal is to find out what is the best fit for you and how you can take all of these experiences over the summer and beyond, and sort of market yourself in a way that will catch our attention as we're reading your applications and bringing them to committee, because we're going to advocate for you, but we need your help. We need you to give us the information that helps us advocate for you. And getting involved in these kinds of experiences is a good way to do that. All right, I'll stop pontificating, as I'm often told I do. All right, Judy, you're on mute, Judy. Judy, you're on mute.
Okay, there are many different experiences that you may avail yourself of in the summer. And we know that this year there's a different level of concern regarding really access to programs that may have previously provided summer internships, opportunities such as volunteering or shadowing in healthcare settings are limited this year naturally. But we want to just really again encourage you to take advantage of virtual opportunities and also free opportunities. You can learn language skills or a foreign language and through free programs online. You can tour museums of the world online, so you can almost do a virtual study abroad experience. You can begin, and someone had asked or chatted in a question about how do I go about starting or structuring a research experience or a topic. Starting again and before school ends, talking to your high school faculty about areas that particularly interest you and maybe a particular question or topic that you might want to study in that field or in that area that you might begin to do independent research on this summer. And again, we have the tools and you have the tools to do many, many different things virtually, to develop new skills, and also to do research, independent research, and or research that might be mentored through a high school faculty member or potentially even a faculty member at a local college. Also, as Rob had mentioned, giving back. Do you have an opportunity to tutor or support younger family members? If you're good at mathematics and or you're great at science and you're working with your younger brothers and sisters, and they are struggling in sciences and/or need your support in learning online. Look at ways that you can contribute in your family atmosphere or arena, in your community. There are things that you may think are small, but are meaningful and that will help you grow. So, you know, we know that students certainly are concerned and thinking about the limits that are being placed based on the health crisis, but don't despair. There's so many things that you can do and can be doing, and certainly organizing your college search process and preparing for that process. There's a great deal that you can do and be doing now. So as we talked about, put your plan in motion. Thank you for attending today. That's one step in putting your plan in motion, signing up for information sessions and tours that are being hosted by colleges and universities across the country. Contact college faculty, but I would, going back to the other side, John, yep, contact college faculty or your high school faculty about research and your possible research interests. Look at and really dig deeper into college or university websites, not just at the admissions requirements and application procedures, but look at what are the academic majors are offering, and then drill down and look at what would I be studying during my 4 years if I choose to major in psychology at this university, or if I want to major in engineering, what do I actually have to take? That information is available online through college course catalogs or university bulletins. So on our website, when you go to the admissions website, academic majors and minors, you can click on a major and then really see pretty much a 4-year plan for what a typical student would take if you choose that particular area of study. We talked about volunteer opportunities, so I won't talk about that further, but I do want to talk about the college essay, because we have found in our experience that that is the one thing that many students procrastinate on. And we find that, you know, students will say, oh, I started my application in August, September, October, and we'll say, well, what's holding you up? Oh, I haven't quite gotten to my essay, or I haven't finished my essay. It's not rocket science, folks. When you look at the essay topics, they're asking you to talk about you, a subject that you know very well. This should not be a research paper. This should not be a thesis. You have an opportunity to look now at some of the common application essay prompts. And I would just say that even if a college or university has their own set or their own distinct essay requirement, many essays basically are trying to get at the same thing, which is tell us why you are interested in studying here. Tell us about your future goals, your dreams, your aspirations, and give us something beyond the bare bones of your academics, your test scores, the grades in high school, etc., that puts some flesh on the bones, that tells us about you. So, you know, the college essay kind of fills in the outlines and lets us learn about you through your voice. So summer is a wonderful time to start drafting your essay. We've talked a lot, and we are very much into the business of talking, but we'd like to really share some resources with you before we go into answering some of the questions that have come in. So there are some wonderful external resources that can help you to not only explore various colleges, but also to explore the connection between your interests and potential majors, areas of study, as well as colleges and universities where you can pursue those areas of study. So One example is a website called Big Future through the College Board. You can start with just your basic interests. What are you into? Or you can really look at areas such as new career ideas or careers that are growing or careers that you may not have thought about. You can look at and view different videos and interviews with current college students, with people who are very successful in their careers, and hear from them why they chose those careers, why they chose their career and college path. And that can help you gain some insight in various careers. My Next Move is another excellent resource, and also the Education Planner's Find Careers Guide. And again, it can be as simple as I enjoy helping people. Well, then what does that mean? Where can that lead for me? You can start with an interest. You can start with a particular academic subject. They can point you to not only career options, various academic programs and majors, but also help you to explore colleges and universities that will offer you areas of study building on those career interests. So again, this is one external resource to help you explore careers and colleges. And then we have many internal resources as well.
And you think about, there's so much information out there, right? And you're trying to synthesize, how do I take all these things and apply them to me and what I like and what I'm good at? And sometimes we assume the pathway is going to be a certain way. And as we go through some of those resources, we discover some new things about ourselves that we didn't know. And wow, there's a really amazing careers that I never thought about, but incorporate the skills that are really part of who I am, what I'm good at. These internal resources are not just if you're thinking about a Stony Brook in particular, but these are good examples. For example, the stonybrook.edu Career Center does a really great job at looking at not so much this major plus that internship equals that job. It talks about sort of a cluster approach. Like there are certain themes, the kinds of things that we're good at. Like Judy was saying, if you're very good at talking with people, something in the social sciences might be a sort of an umbrella group of things to consider. Or if I'm really thinking about healthcare, well, there are some very particular skill sets that you have to have, and also certain things in certain courses that you have to have in order to prepare for that. So I think that information, looking at the cluster, the sort of the family, general kinds of thoughts that are part of a particular career option is a good way of looking at it, particularly when you're undecided, because if you're coming to this thinking, I have no idea what I want to major in, but if you start looking at these clusters, you think, oh, I can fit in there, and now I can explore deeper and sort of peel back the many layers of that onion until you discover, well, that's the thing that speaks to me the most. Summer math program, right? You can never have enough math skills, I always think. Not my strong point, but certainly for many students who want to strengthen, get ahead of their math courses, really, really important, particularly if you're thinking about a STEM field. I always ask students at a college fair or I'm interviewing them who ask about, I want to major in biology, I want to major in computer science. And then we have these conversations about, well, let's talk about what kind of things you like and what kinds of things you're good at. And we talk about the quantitative studies courses. And they look at me, they're like, huh? I have to take calculus? What? I want to program. Why do I need calculus? So understanding that sometimes these kinds of courses are an important foundation for the kinds of things that you might want to do. And if I'm not really all that strong in math, doesn't mean I should not take math. Taking these summer programs might help us fine tune and strengthen those skill sets that we need to have if we are truly looking at those particular academic programs and careers. The other one, the Eureka one, the undergraduate research and creative activity. And this is really important because this talks about realistically what students do as far as research. And most people think that research is reserved for graduate students. Well, no. Research happens at the undergraduate level. Research happens while you're in high school. And the earlier you start, the more familiar you will become and the more marketable you will be as you sort of navigate through research opportunities. And you might start off while in high school as a research assistant, working with a faculty member or a researcher, helping them with their research project. But as you become more savvy, by getting involved in these kinds of programs, and many of them are during the summer, you then sort of acquire more skills to have that morph into a more independent research project where now you are leading the research, you are asking the questions, and you are making sure and are accountable for the outcome of that research. So that's really, really, really important. And understanding that this is going to evolve. This whole process is a process of research and self-discovery. And what you know right now may change in what you know by the end of the summer after you go through these experiences, and will continue to change in your first semester of your senior year, even after you have your offers of admission by, let's say, the early part of the spring semester of your senior year. You change. You know, when you're 17 or 16 years old, that's a time for a lot of change. And what you're thinking now about what you want to do might very well change by the time you're getting ready to graduate high school. And that's okay too. The self-discovery continues. It keeps going on. Don't stop asking the questions, and make sure you get good answers to your questions. Know who to get the information of and to expect the information in return so that you can make informed decisions. So it's about asking good questions and getting good answers. And Judy, I think that's a great segue for us to get questions.
Absolutely. And we have some great questions.
Awesome.
One of them relates to extracurricular activities, which we know is a concern for many students. And the question is, what if some of my extracurriculars relate a little to my prospective major, but what if you're doing other things you're passionate about, but that are not really too related to the intended major? How is that looked at in the admission process? If some extracurriculars might be tied to or related to an academic major or area, but there are other things that you excel in, that you enjoy, that you're committed to, that may not necessarily be related to your intended area of study.
It's like your story, though. It goes back to this whole application process. Your academic transcript is a story about your accomplishments academically. Your essay is the story about who you are and your journey. Your co-curricular, we say co-curricular because they're just as important as your academic experiences. Your co-curricular talk about your passions and your interests. And far beyond, I keep saying that, far beyond your academic program, it's who you are. If it speaks to you, if it's truly meaningful, that you perhaps started off maybe as a member of an organization, maybe you took on a leadership role, maybe you initiated a program, whatever. It's not just something you've just delved into on the surface. It's something you feel very committed to. And that level of engagement is length of time and the development of the experience. We want to hear about that. And those are some of the really neat things to weave into your essay, by the way. Because when you look at it, this whole story that we're looking at in the college admissions process is many pieces, but they need to be woven together in a consistent manner so that when we're reading an essay, and it should sort of be in sync with the co-curricular and the resume and the academic transcript, when those things are out of sync, that's when we start to question. You need to share the story. And I think that's a hard lesson for many young people today, to feel comfortable that knowing that their story is worthy of being told, and it is. And we're not expecting you to be Pulitzer Prize winning authors, but we know you all have a story, and it's important to embrace it and to share it. And that is so critical. That's what makes our job fun, learning more about you, the kinds of things that you do, because you never know, we'll have some of those kinds of experiences at the college level. Or if we don't, you can be the first one to initiate those kinds of experiences at the college. Talk about leadership.
And we have a question about research opportunities, and we did share a link with you regarding Stony Brook's undergraduate research program. The question was, does SBU have research opportunities for undergraduates? And we're really proud to say, in one of the links that we shared in an earlier slide, was for a program called Eureka, Undergraduate Research and Creative Activity. And they provide our undergraduate students with guidance regarding how to identify research opportunities, both on campus and off campus, how to connect with faculty who can serve as mentors, how to develop their own research ideas and topics, and so forth. So we have a great deal of support for undergrads who want to do research. And as Rob pointed out, it's that a site can give you good ideas as high school students regarding how to go about connecting with people to develop and or identify a research opportunity.
And sometimes it's as simple as reaching out to a faculty via email. Sometimes people think they have to be looking at a structured program, whether it's the Simons program here on campus or the Saris program. But there are many ways, even on a small way, to get involved. You know, it's kind of clever. You write to the faculty. It's usually their first name dot their last name at whatever institution that they're at. So when Judy was saying before, look at the academic programs available. Well, when you go even deeper, look at the faculty profiles. Find out who they are, what kind of research they're doing. And if something speaks to you, yeah, I like that genetic research. I want to learn more about it. Do a little homework first, find out what they're doing, and then you can reach out to a faculty member. Sometimes, I'll be honest, you have to be persistent because they're busy, but persistence is good in this process. You write to them and not just saying, tell me more about the research, but can you, I was reading this about what you're doing in research, and here's what I've learned doing some research on my own by investigating the topic. Are you thinking about, or do you need a research assistant, whether it's for your laboratory or even remotely? Can you gather information? Can you send out electronic surveys for them? Whatever research that they're doing, I'll be honest, free labor for many of the faculty and the researchers, so it's really a no-brainer for them, but it's valuable experience for you. It's again, taking the theory, but putting it into practice. And that is so valuable. It doesn't have to be a large-scale structured program, but even just getting your foot in the door, networking, so important. I know it's hard to do, you know, for many folks, and particularly when you're just starting out, but it's going to catch the attention of folks when you take that leap of faith.
Those are wonderful points. And we have someone coming from a slightly different perspective. And the question is, what are some activities that students who are interested in business can do this summer? I would like to just look at business, or look at the term business like you would say vegetables. There are a variety of different vegetables. So in looking at business, I think a valuable activity, particularly for the summer, would be to try to hone in or identify what area of business you might be more or most interested in. Here at Stony Brook University, when you study business, we arm you with a broad set of general skills that we think any student who goes into the business world is going to need. And we want you to know how to really analyze data or information, how to manage resources, and also how to really, again, I think at the heart of it is analyzing data and managing resources. And some of those resources may be human resources or people, managing people. But those are core skills. And then we ask our students to take a group of courses as a specialization. And those might be in finance, that might be in accounting, that might be in marketing, that might be in an area called operations. So these are areas that you can specialize in at Stony Brook. Entrepreneurship, running your own business. But in business, there are people who plan the business. There are people who supply it. There are people who count the money. There are people who market and who do the advertising. What interests you or intrigues you about business? So possibly this summer might be a good time to interview or try to seek out people for interview who are doing jobs that you think you might like to do. Just develop a brief set of questions, maybe. What do you do? What is your daily work schedule like? What do you do during the day? And how'd you get there? So that's something that you could do if you're interested in business or in any other area. That's something that you might do. A little bit of research, yeah. Mm-hmm. Rob, we had a really unique question, which was, do prospective students ever create their own websites for admissions counselors to see? I'm trying to picture, if I've seen a website, I've seen many, many things in my decades in admissions.
So actually, it's a really good question because many of you know we have some really strong technology programs at the university, and over the years, I know I've seen and I've had conversations with the students afterwards as well, students who had developed their own web pages because they feel that that's a part or should be a part or can be a part of the evaluation process. And again, we talk about a holistic review in admissions. We're looking at many different parts. Certainly your academic is very important. You have to make sure you have the foundation courses that Judy was talking about to be prepared for the competition that you're going to be with in the classrooms. We want to make sure that you're well prepared, because the worst thing any of us could do is to admit a student who would not be successful. It's not fair to the student and certainly not fair to the institution. So the academic piece is there, but what else? You know, and as you, again, uncover those layers, it's the practical experience. So if I'm thinking about a technology field, I'm thinking about maybe a computer science, maybe it's Stony Brook, and many students do. They often send us examples of the kind of work that they've done. And we've even had conversations with the academic folks in the College of Engineering and Applied Science, which houses the computer science program and many of our STEM programs, about looking at students who have those kinds of experiences. Yes, there's the academic piece, but we know that many of those students have done some really incredible things. And honestly, Judy, some of them I don't even understand, but I'll just smile. It looks really good. It's very, very impressive. And we know you've done a lot of work with them. And yes, and we can actually forward that information on to the faculty because they're always very interested, not even just from admission, but once you're on the college campus, we could utilize those skills and you could be helping us build our own web pages here. So if you've had those skills prior and you've done a good job at them, you're going to be very valuable on the college campus, whether it's in the academic department doing it or wink, wink in our department here, because we're always looking for those kinds of folks. So yes, we've seen a lot of examples, sort of like you see art students sending us portfolios or music students sending us, composition work. Certainly folks in technology have shared with us their examples of their work. And it's really humbling, but it speaks to the fact that life is not just about academics. It's theory, but also practical experience. And there's a wonderful example of having that. Long-winded answer. As you can tell, I'm kind of long-winded. Sorry.
And I think we have time for one last question that just popped in. And this individual, it said, I wanted to volunteer at a hospital over the summer because I want to go into the medical field. Are there programs that you know of where I can do that virtually? This is a wonderful YouTube world, and believe it or not, you can see and not participate in, but you can view a wide range of medical procedures virtually. That's one way that you might be able to shadow or gain some experiences. We know that now in the medical environment, particular care is being given not to invite external people into healthcare settings. So this may be a time period where volunteer offices in hospitals and clinics are going to need to cut back. But it never hurts, as Rob indicated earlier, it never hurts to reach out to the volunteer or community relations offices at any of your area hospitals just to inquire and make that contact with them to see, again, if there are any opportunities for you to do any type of observation or experience virtually.
I think the other thing too, Jude, also is volunteering in the health field right now. There are other things that students are doing in the volunteer process that are related to healthcare. So we have a lot of students who are gathering PPE, for example, for hospital workers, or they are gathering meals for hospital workers, and connections are being made there safely, certainly. But so again, think outside the box. If you are having some difficulty getting those real I'll say hands-on experiences, but those kinds of typical experiences that you would want at this point, there are other ways perhaps to sort of get that, some networking by doing volunteer related to the healthcare. So gathering materials, things that support folks in the healthcare industry. That would be meaningful as well, and I think much appreciated.
And our last question as we close, and I did not want to leave it unanswered, is are there any updates regarding whether or not Stony Brook will be test optional this fall, as many other schools have announced? At present time, we have not determined whether we're going to be test optional, but we have determined that no student will be disadvantaged in our admission process. So should they not have an opportunity to take standardized tests this fall, although at this point in time, we have every indication from the College Board that there are going to be multiple test administrations starting as early as August, throughout August, September, October, November, into the fall. So we are hoping that students will be able to avail themselves of college tests, whether that be the SAT or ACT, but we will have a process in place to do a holistic and comprehensive evaluation of all students. Just to note that we are a rolling admission environment, so our recommended deadline for application completion for priority consideration is January 15. We are not early action or early decision, so you do not have the pressure of providing a completed application to us by early November. Certainly our applicants really have time to compile and prepare and do their best job at preparing their college applications. We please just like to invite you to join us for our upcoming workshops. Next week, we will have Exploring the Health Professions, specifically our health sciences program, nursing, and social work. So we hope that some of you will join us again next week, and please reach out to us if we can be of assistance to you. Roberto?
Just want to say, don't forget to breathe through all this process. You're going to get through it. You have some amazing resources. Utilize those resources. Take it step by step. Don't procrastinate. Remember deadlines. Make sure other folks are reviewing your essays and anything that you're going to be sending out, whether it be a cover letter, a resume, an email to a faculty member or potential employer, whatever. You want that voice to be as professional as possible. And the more people you trust to look at that and take that advice and let them edit, please do so. There are so many people who can do that. With your college essay, your English teacher, let's not forget your English teacher, right? They love to edit. They get those little red pens out. But yeah, take advantage of those resources and really enjoy this process. You're going to learn a lot about yourselves, a lot about colleges, a lot about careers, a lot about life. And that's an exciting journey. And you're going to be learning, and learning is really the core of what we do as a society. So we wish you much success in your journey, and we look forward to seeing you again throughout this process. And you know how to reach us if you need to or want to. Good luck to all of you.
Good luck, everyone, and thank you for joining us.